Have you ever looked at somebody who just went through something really huge, like something life-altering, and you think, how do you make it through that? How do you get through the day? How did you, now 5 years later, build your life in a different direction? How do you move on? That's a question for so many people. It's quite honestly amazing to be the outsider looking in on someone achieving big things after heartbreak or loss or whatever they're going through. I wanted to talk about that today. I wanted to talk about how resilient people do it and why it all comes down to their mindset. It's going to be super interesting, and I'll even do a little bit of a reading at the end, so stick around for that. If you guys don't know me, I'm Aubrey Barr. I am a subconscious release technique practitioner, so I work a lot on mindset. I also work a lot with creative people. I love to break down the stories of the traumas from our past that are causing limiting beliefs in our lives today. There's always something to be discovered when it comes to our life and our journey and our process of healing. That's what I love to talk about. There are people out there that go through just crazy, horrible, traumatic experiences, and some people more than others, it feels sometimes. And we wonder how they keep going. But what you don't notice is they have a certain part of them that causes them to be more resilient. They have this piece that just makes them have this willpower to just keep going, just keep moving through it. So I want to share a little story about me that helps me really identify this resiliency in other people. So back when I was 19, I got married very fast. In fact, I got married to someone who I got in a car accident with. That's how I met him. I mean, anything that starts that way, like all bets are off, right? He was very much this person that was charismatic and said all the right things, did all the right things, at least for a while, until I actually married him 3 months after that car accident. And I had a lot of lessons I got to learn from this experience. I actually met while backing out of a parking spot. He was going the wrong way and I ran into him. That's how I met him. So the story unfolds quite like other abusive relationships would, where, I was totally in love and, we got married really, really, really fast. And then I started to see another side of him. But I didn't quite catch on that fast. I was very naive. I did not have a lot of self-respect and self-love. I was not confident in any way. I hadn't been my entire life. Like, that was how I was when I was young. So it was not new to me. But obviously I didn't have the wherewithal to use that and recognize those things. So I allowed this abusive situation to unfold. And, we lived in the car probably 9 months or a year. We packed up a car and we just drove, and I had nothing. We lived in the car. We drove across the United States. We were in Alaska at the time. That's where I'm from. And we just kept driving, and we didn't know where we were going. We didn't have any money. We left behind everything. And that's when things really started to change. That is a telltale sign when somebody's going to start taking more and more advantage of you and abusing you at different levels, because now they have you separated from your friends and family. So that's exactly what happened to me. And in the course of 2 years, I was able to start to recognize these patterns. And because I was able to look back at my own childhood and look at how my dad treated my mom, I recognized things that just weren't settling well. And so I was able to make better choices. I ended up leaving him in literally the middle of the night. I left. I took nothing with me. I left everything that we had accumulated over the years, including my dog, who I really, really loved. But my life was more important. And this came right after I had gotten really beat by him. And so having to show up in the world with a black eye and having to pretend that that's not what was happening, or not wanting to talk about it, or even getting teary-eyed when people would ask me questions. Looking back, I know people recognized things, but nobody spoke up because they probably didn't know what to say or what to do. And I was pretty much denying anything anyway. And so I really needed to be rescued. When I look back on that time of my life and I think about all the choices I made that led me there, I definitely see things I got to work on, right? I definitely had places where I absolutely needed to stand up for myself. I needed to grow more confidence and more self-value. I just did not value any part of me. And so I've grown so much from that person. But people will ask me, like, how did you get out of that? Because when I say I got out of it and walked out, I never spoke to him again. I mean, I just left. I had made a decision and I followed through with it, and that was that. And one of the things that I often think about with that, and it does have to do with resiliency, is that I couldn't give up. Like, that wasn't an option. People like to say, domestic survivor. They like to say, you survived it. I'm a person that no words matter. That's what I base my entire life off of. I'm not triggered by the word survivor, but I don't feel like it accurately represents what happened to me, because I didn't feel like I survived that. I felt like I was going to be resilient regardless. Every situation, and this is what resilient people will tell you, every situation you're in, first, you get to own which parts of that are yours. You get to face that. But you never think that you have no way out. Even when you don't have hope, right? You can still say, okay, but something's going to change. You can still look at that part of you and think bigger, and I guess sometimes it does feel a little bit hopeless though in the moment. You don't know how things are going to play out. You just know that they will. So you have faith in something else. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I had. But resilient people will often default to something's going to work out. Something's going to change. I don't know what it is. I don't know how. I don't know what's going to come my way, but something's going to change. And so a lot of us will kind of shy away from the word survivor because it doesn't feel like that. It feels like there was no choice but to get out. There was no choice but to change the path that we were on. What I really want you to take from this discussion is that you have every opportunity to be resilient. You get to choose that. You honestly do. It's a part of you that says, you know what, this situation is figure outable. This situation doesn't have to end this way. The past does not have to repeat itself. You get to decide. You get to make that choice. And so deciding then that you're going to figure something out means that you keep looking, even when it doesn't look like it will work. You just keep looking. You keep doing. You keep searching. You keep reaching out to people. You move through a cycle of not giving up. That's how you become resilient. And what tends to happen with people who do give up easily on something, I don't want to say easily. What does happen with people who might give up and ditch a problem? First off, you have to understand that maybe that situation wasn't really for you. That is always a possibility. Sometimes we make choices that are out of alignment with ourselves, and then we try so hard to make it work for time and time. We just put all of it into it and nothing seems to work with it. There's very possible that you, by choosing that, have created a situation where you get to learn a lesson and you get to walk away from that. And that's okay too. But resiliency and having that state of mind is attached to that as well. It means that I'm so resilient that I'm going to say, you know what? That didn't work for me, but I'm going to try something else and I'm going to keep going. It doesn't mean that every problem is solved the way you think it should be solved. It also means that you get up, you reevaluate, and you make different decisions and you pivot, right? That's resiliency. So stop thinking that giving up means that you're not someone who can handle the pressure, that you're not someone who's resilient and who has this mindset of, I can do it. That's not always what it means. Sometimes it means you just need to pivot a little bit in a different direction. So I want to encourage you to do that today. If you have something going on in your life that feels like, I don't know if I could take this, I don't see how it's going to work this way, look for solutions. Maybe that means you have to change something around. Maybe that means you have to change your circumstances. Maybe it involves moving or finding a different partner or taking a break from something for a while. All of those things that feel like initially you are giving up are not necessarily so. You never know what inspiration you may get just from pivoting into a different direction. Because that's what happens to me all the time. I will feel like, okay, this is not working. I want to ditch it entirely. And then I come up with new ideas because I've released that control over the situation and I've allowed new ideas and new creative things to come into my life. The last thing I want to say is that I have felt so encouraged lately to add in intuitive coaching into my videos. Now, I do this one-on-one with people all the time, every day, and I do it in a group setting as well. But there is a definite pull towards giving you guys a message just on these videos. I didn't know what I wanted to bring up for my intuitive reading in this today, but as I'm sitting here recording this, I have a few things that came to my mind. One is that I feel like there's a lot of people struggling. And I know struggling means, first off, different things to different people. But I also know that it feels very resistant. So if this is for you, if you're feeling like you're still watching this is probably yours. There's a resistance around letting go of something. And it really feels like you absolutely know you need to let it go. And you've been toying with it and you've been fighting with it. And there's a little tug of war going on in your head. But it's time to let this thing go. And I know for a lot of people, it feels very, very heavy because it almost feels like you can't see a future without this situation. And I am picking up on some kind of relationships too. So some of it is relationship wise. Some of it is within your own business. It just feels like I've worked so hard and put so many hours and I've invested my time and my energy and my emotions into this one thing and it's not panning out the way I thought it would be. And what really comes up is it's time to let go. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, how do I be more resilient? And you're really trying to hold on to something, I'm also just encouraging you to reevaluate because it's possible that the part of you that you think is not resilient is actually just your intuition trying to lead you in a different direction. And it's time to do that. Okay. So I hope you know that anytime I share an intuitive message with you, it is from my heart. I know a lot of people don't like to hear things like that. It can be triggering. But I also believe that we all are capable of deciding if that message is for us or not. I've watched plenty of other people doing readings before. I'm super into it. I've always done it. And that's what I do with my clients. So it's very much a part of my life. And I can tell if the message is for me because I tap into my body and I've been able to figure out, is that a yes or is that a no? Is my intuition telling me, oh, that's not for you? Or is my intuition saying, ouch? Or, yes, honey, because it can go either way. So with that in mind, you get to decide. You get to decide if that's for you or not. You get to decide if you are going to take that and apply it to your life, that there's something that you need to let go of. Maybe there is. So I'm going to leave that with you. I hope you guys have a fabulous day and let me know in the comments if that was for you or not. And also if it brought up anything else, because I'd love to do another video where we do readings for you guys. So just let me know if something's coming up for you just from that little talk. All right. See you later.